folks, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Covering the blog post I want to share with you, of course, review the latest in social media and technology here. And we're doing another one of our famous phone reviews. This is from VirginMobileUSA.com. That's VirginMobileUSA.com. You can also find them on Twitter at VirginMobileUS. This is their HTC One phone. It's an Android-based phone that also has Beats audio on it, so that's very fun with the HTC product there. And this is one of their Virgin Mobile phones. A lot of people have been asking me about this phone and how it compares to some of the other Virgin Mobile reviews that we've done. So we're going to get a chance to see how this compares up against some of the other Virgin Mobile phones and other phones that are in the marketplace. You can see the flip out here, and it looks like a great device. We've always loved the HTC One devices. We're interested in seeing how this device differs from the HTC One X. So that will be interesting. You want to stay tuned to see that. And of course see the other reviews we've done of Virgin Mobile phones. So thank you, Virgin Mobile, for sharing the phone with us. We're going to go into a review. We'll also be reviewing on another video the Virgin Mobile LG Optimus Elite. So be sure to check that out too. That will be coming forward. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up this baby's HTC One. We'll go ahead and show you the back of the box so you can take a look at and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and open this up. And be sure, of course, to check out, this is the fourth review we've done of Virgin Mobile phones, so be sure to check those out on the ChrisVossShow.com or search for them on the YouTube if you're seeing these on YouTube. Let's go ahead and pop open the package here. Really good looking, nice, beautiful, thin phone. We'll get into that in a second. Let's pull up some of the other stuff that we have in the unboxing. Looks like we have terms of service from some phone insurance sales stuff. Looks like we have a guide on how to, of course, use it for the user manual. Looks like we have some cables, and we also have some plugs that will be used to take and charge it. And of course, I don't know why, I almost don't use the plugs anymore. I do everything by USB, the way things work for me nowadays. So let's get into this phone. Okay, so let's get into the details of the HTC One V. We'll give you a chance to see the startup from Virgin Mobile and how it processes stuff. It has, of course, Beats audio, which is very cool on it. And it's a handy little phone. I really like it. It fits well in your hand. And we'll show you some other features. Now, of course, it has the ring pull to pull it out of standby, which is usually used by HTC. And, of course, you can drag and drop stuff into the ring if you want to open it up by making a call, etc., etc. This particular model that we're looking at here is running on the HT Sense 4.0 software. We'll go ahead and bring that to you, and we'll take a look at it. And it updated to the 4.03 Android software that we take and have on it now. You'll be able to see this here in a second. And let's go down here to software information. And as you can see here, it's HTC Sense 4.0 and the Android version 4.03. Now, one thing we'd really like to see on it, and hopefully it will come out given that it's gotten the 4.03 update, is being able to get the 4.04. Now, as you look at the HTC, what you have is you have a back button, you have a home button, and you have a most recent app button. So when you press this, this pulls up your most recent apps. One thing that's come out with the other HTCs that we've had that have updated to the 4.04 Android update is they've actually made it so you can make this a menu button that will come up in menu. Now with the HTC product, what they've done up until 4.04 is they've just built the menu into the systems and different apps so you can utilize them. But what's really nice is the 4.04 gives you the update. So hopefully we'll see that. And I think we will out of this product because most of the HTCs seem to be updating to 4.04. We really like the software when it comes to HTC Sense 4.0 and all the setups that it's done there. So let's take a look at a few different things about this device. You can see here on the front that we have no front-facing camera. We've got a speaker at the top, and we kind of have this angled chiseled edge to it. Now, I do have to tell you from first impressions, it sits very nicely in the hand. It's wonderfully thin, and I really like this part here. It's kind of fun to hold this part on the bottom where you can take and hold it from this angle, and it basically makes it very comfortable for you to hold that way. So I've liked that in it being very thin and light. It can take and be easy to carry around. You're less likely to drop it. Now, of course, this runs on the 3G network for Virgin Mobile and Sprint's network, I should say. And with 3G, it just has 3G capabilities. It does not have the 4G capability to take and do that. But depending upon what your needs are and what you want to take and do, that may be best for you, especially budget-wise for some folks. But it's a very nice phone. It's not a phone that you'd expect from a prepaid service in the past. It's a great phone that you can take and purchase and, of course, save money on. Let's take a look at a few other elements of the body and case itself. Now, on the bottom, we have a microphone hole. On the right-hand side, we have a volume rocker up and down. Across the top, we have your earphone plug. We have an indicator light, and we also have a power button. Along the left-hand side, there is a charger plug hole. And the thing that we have on the back is you have a camera and a flash, the HTC logo, and the Beats audio logo here in the bottom. Now, what happens is this bottom part does pop off, and you can insert a micro SD card where you can expand the memory. We'll talk about that here in a second when we get into some of the features of the HTC. So let's take and do that now, and we'll talk about some of the details that go into the specs. So with the HTC, you're looking at hardware-wise. It's a 4.74 inches in height. Width is 2.35 inches. Thickness is 0.36 inches, and the weight's of 0.25 pounds, so a quarter of a pound. It comes in a gray color. The screen size is 3.7 inches. It's a Super LCD RGB pixel arrangement screen. Has a resolution size of 800 by 480 with a PPI of 252. It's a capacitive touchscreen type, and it is multi-touch, of course. You can find this through virginmobileusa.com, 3G connectivity. Let's take a look. What else are we looking for? It has a Qualcomm chip in it, which is a Snapdragon S2, and a clock speed of 1 gigahertz, and has just a single core unit to it. It's a RAM size of 512 megapixels, or I'm sorry, megabytes. Did I say megapixels? It's a long day. Internal size is 4 gigabytes. External size, yes, you can see, as we mentioned before, you can upgrade the memory to up to 32 gigabytes, and that's through a micro SD card. The resolution of the camera on the back is 5 megapixels. Flash, of course, is there. Autofocus, 720p video resolution, and 30 video frames per second rate. So the operating system, of course, we talked about, and it's got a 1500 milliamp battery. Quoted use time is 7.2 hours. It's a nice, handy little phone. So let's get into benchmarking some of the different aspects of it and talking about some of the different aspects of it. From the front, you can see here's the dialing menu. It's pretty familiar if you're familiar with the HTC products on their dialing stuff and some of their latest work. Now, of course, you have menu options that are built into the software itself as opposed to having the buttons down here. We hope that changes so if it updates to 4.04. But for now, you have the ability to go through the elements of your menu by working through the different parts of the system. Let's go back to our home, and let's take a look at something else. What we're going to do is you're going to see here this operates off a swipe where you have to go back and forth between all the different things. You can, of course, change your widgets. You've got the customization that's there, but it does not have infinite swipe. I tend to like the infinite swipe a whole lot more because I don't have to keep going back and forth looking for stuff, but there's ways to take and customize and change that if you'd like. Let's take a look at notifications menu. The notifications, of course, has a drop down. You have your settings here that you can easily get into. You can clear your notifications, and it's really nice with this version of HTC Sense, where you can get into notifications. It's got a great looking visual menu, and it's very easy to turn stuff on and off and all that good stuff. So what we're going to do is take a page down. You can see some of the different views here, and of course settings that you can take and do in connecting this. So it's a great phone for that measure. It seems to move fairly fast. We don't run into any problems on loading and stuff. From what we could see, it seemed to hold its own. It wasn't slow in any way. And it does pretty good for a phone of its size. It really, really does. I've seen phones that are much larger and much more complex actually move faster. So even though it appears it doesn't have a very fast chip in it, it does pretty good for the size that it holds out at. So let's take a look at some speed tests that we've taken run on the device, and let's go ahead and get into that. Now, we've run these speed tests before, and you can see here we're going to be just looking at the results of the speed tests. You can see here the results that we've found. We've run about 5 speed tests in this example, and in running those you can see what we're getting. Now, of course, these are on the 3G network. It's not available for 4G, so these are about as fast as the speeds you're going to take and get from Virgin Mobile. One thing you can get from Virgin Mobile that we have reviewed is their Hotspot Overdrive, which is a great overdrive device that can get you 4G speeds on the Virgin Mobile network. So that can help actually make for a great experience. If you really love Sprint, you really love saving money, you don't like being locked down into contracts, you can take and utilize those features by possibly picking up a nice hotspot fairly inexpensively. Okay, so in further benchmarking tests, we're using the AnTuTu benchmark version 2.9.2. You can see the scores that we're getting, 3060. You can see some of the different RAM, CPU, integer scores, 3D graphics. These benchmarks are very helpful if you want to take and compare them with phones that you currently have that you're thinking about possibly trading in or upgrading. Okay, here we can see we've run the GL benchmark 2.1.5 Egypt version. It looks like we've run at 3465 frames at 31 frames per second on their standard edition. Okay, so here we can see with Billion Counter, we've tested the CPU and seeing how quickly it can get to count to a billion. Looks like it did it in about 62.288 seconds. Okay, so here you can see our GPS satellite test. It's how many satellites it picks up. Looks like we're getting 11 in view, 5 in use. And we got some better results last night in the middle of the night, so looks like we got a little bit of difference. We were picking up more satellites in view. I don't know if some of that's running into what's going on. We're actually experiencing some cloud cover right here with some thunderstorms rolling in. I don't know that that really makes a difference, but let's just say that it might. So you have that information there. Okay, so using the KFS benchmarking, you can see how the different aspects came out with the Bamboo, the Wavescape, the Galactic Core, and the overall performance. FPS, frames per second, came out to 17.731. Now, one of the other great aspects of the phone is that if you use an earphone with this, you'll be able to activate the Beats audio that you can see there on the back. Now, the Beats audio is really cool. We like the results that come out of it. It gives you a much better experience in your sound quality, and it gives you a bit of a boost, and it sounds much better with the Beats audio features that will come in. Once you plug your headphone jack in, it will pop up with a red thing that will say, hey, Beats audio. You can also deactivate the Beats audio if, for example, you don't like the enhancements. But we highly recommend it. It's a very good product in that element with the Beats audio. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we've taken a look at some of the benchmarking. It's a great little phone for the size of it and the cost, and the speed seems to run fairly well. We're fairly impressed with it. It's a good little phone. It really is. Now let's take a look at the camera capabilities and aspects of it. Of course, here you're running on HTC Sense 4.0. You've got several different elements where you have the ability to control your flash up here. You've got the ability to control settings, and of course your different menus. Here you can see where you can control self-timers, image resolution, you can control video quality, you can control. Let's go back to that. Video quality, you can control how big of a screen you want to take and shoot with. Review duration, image adjustments, ISOs, etc., etc. White balance, storage, you can adjust where you want to have the photos stored, of course. If you want to store them to the micro SD card, you do have the continuous shooting element of this, and this is really cool with the HTC product. You can limit it to 20 frames. You can do an auto review where you do a bunch of continuous shooting, and you can choose which ones you want to keep. Really like that feature with the HTC product. You can record with audio. You can do different video options here. You can see, let's get that drop down actually. Looks like record with audio is the only one. Camera interface, you can see we can do a grid. You can set auto upload and reset to default. So we also have several different features here where you can do slow motion video, auto, HDR, panorama, portrait, group portrait, landscape, whiteboard, close-up, low light. Basically different ways that you can really customize your pictures and the quality to deal with whatever it is you're trying to get your photos done right. Now, of course, you do have a zoom in and out button, so you have that feature available to you. Up here we have some lenses that you can take and see, where you can page through different lenses to take and get different aspects of video recording or photos, where you can take and kind of Instagram them up, if you will. Now, you also have here a button for your shutter for the photos. You also have a button for recording your video camera. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that we got in the test that we did. We found the camera's pretty good. It's a 5-megapixel camera, so you're dealing with that aspect of it. Let's take a look at some pictures here first. We'll scroll over. Now, we found that the pictures that are taken with the HTC are taken with pretty good portrayal of what the environment looked like that we took and shot. So the pictures come out very well, very detailed. It's an impressive camera for a 5-megapixel camera. I've seen 5-megapixel cameras that have been really not as good. So the HTC product does come out well with the camera. It shoots well, and we liked what we saw. Here's a low light situation where we're using flash. You can see it's very detailed. In comparing some of the other phones to this that are comparable in its build, we found that the HTC, this one, took in pretty much outperformed it. It gave us great clarity in picture with flash, and you could easily see the images, and the colors came out really well. In video, we have noticed with the HTC product that they've done something to crank up the yellows, blues, and greens. Now, it works out really good because if you're shooting something and you want to get it brighter than it would normally come out, and of course lighting is the key to great videos, being able to have it with a little bit of yellow adjustment to make the colors pop a little bit more in your yellows and blues and greens is great. But what we found is the video is not accurate to the colors that we have. The floor is much darker. You can see here the greens coming out much more. Is that that big of a deal? Not really. You can change some of those settings and taper them back inside of the settings menu, of course. But we just want to give you some feedback on how it records. Here is a low light video recording that we took and did. A little weak on the flash and the ability to really light up what we're trying to video, or video something really close up. It doesn't do too bad, but we've seen other phones that are comparable in series and size. You can see the comparison videos as to what we've done there. Overall, it's a great camera. We really like the phone. In using the phone over the past couple days that we've tested it out, played with it, it's been a very great little phone to take and have. It doesn't have a front-facing camera, so you can't do Skype or FaceTime sort of events where you can do that. But for what you're getting for the phone, what you're paying for it, the plans you're going to get through Virgin Mobile, it's a great little phone, and you're getting some of the latest Android software which has come out. You don't have Jelly Bean, of course, yet, but that's just barely coming out on new devices. But it has the latest, almost the latest, 4.0 version still missing for the ice cream sandwich. It's a great little phone. We're very impressed by it. We liked it. For what you want to take and get for a phone that's going to put you in this range, it's a great little phone, and I'd highly recommend it. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. Be sure to go to virginmobileusa.com. And check out the phones. They have numerous other phones there. We're actually reviewing 2 of their other phones on the chrisvossshow.com. We're reviewing the LG Optimus Elite, and we've also already reviewed the HTC Evo V 4G. Watch for us to do a 3-1-off comparison, all grudge match arena, where we'll compare all 3 phones against each other and tell you which one is the best to take and buy from Virgin Mobile. But we really like this phone. It's very nice. It's very well built for how it's designed and stuff, and it's a great little phone. So be sure to check it out. Tell them Chris Voss sent you. Thank you to Virgin Mobile for providing the phone for us. Be sure to check back the Chris Show often.